Shalom Akim. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the elect. And this lesson, as you see, is going to harp on this article entitled, Are You Ready for the Everything Shortage? This is a most recent article on the I want to say, well, I guess this is Zero Hedge Zero Hedge, okay. This is from Zero Hedge, which came out this morning. So reading into it, it says, for several months, many of my articles covered the global shortages and coming shortages facing the worldwide economy. My articles warned of food, chip, fuel, and commodity shortages. I also wrote about inflation, crop failures, and scarcity of any goods that consumers may need or want. Some readers may feel it was a bit like paranoia and overkill at the time. Guess what? Mainstream media now reveals my writings on global shortages are in fact accurate. Now this proves where these people are gonna come, in these last days as things are getting worse. They're gonna go to those who they at one point deemed as conspiracy theorists, but they're gonna see that we were actually speaking the truth the whole time. Okay? When I say we, I'm talking about the Hebrew Israelites. All right? The ones who are consistently out there preaching the downfall of their prospective slavery. All right, whether that camp or that Israelite, church is preaching in Australia, England, China, wherever, Peru. We have brothers all over the world preaching the downfall of that particular captivity they're in, that particular country, that they're held in. Okay, and as this guy with Brandon T. Jackson, he said all those who, make fun of people who really can see things, before they happen, they call them conspiracy theorists. But now you're seeing it because it's in front of your face. There's no denying prophecy. Okay? What's the word prophesy? Meaning to say before. Okay? Hey, at this point in time, many people are having dreams of the coming of the great and terrible day. All right? The coming of the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, and the angels. All right? You have countless articles, countless acknowledgement now of which they call them UAPs, but we know them as, chariots of the Most High. So it says, one such article, The World Economy is Suddenly Running Low on Everything, by Brendan Murray, Enda Corinne, and Kim Chapman. This piece sums up many of the issues I've written about for several months, albeit much later. And this is just one guy. From the time I've, came into the truth, I've noticed over the years that there are many people. One I could think of off top is a guy named, I believe his name is Michael Snyder, telling, just looking at the signs, watching, writing articles about the different trade wars, all right, the droughts, which there's a mega drought now in the West, in the West Coast. But this has been happening year after year after year, where there have been a mega drought, too much water, all right, flooding the crops out. So if it wasn't one thing or another, it all led to the destruction of crops, all right, which leads to what? A famine. All these things are written of in the scriptures, things that the prophets have been telling you, which even Donald Trump, he called us the perennial prophets of doom. All right, and that word perennial meaning someone who keeps popping up. Okay? Which the scriptures tell us what? Give them no rest until the Most High make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. Okay? Reading on now, it says a year ago, as the pandemic ravaged country after country and economies shuttered, consumers were the ones panic buying. Today, on the rebound, its companies are furiously trying to stock up, right? Because you don't know when the next time you're going to get your shipment. Okay, so now you have to spend more money, all right, stocking up on more. Which that's a gamble. Who knows if, which we see, all right, because now also another thing in the news is that they're saying that you don't have to wear a mask anymore. Everything is opening back up. And shortly after, they're going to say, well, the COVID cases are rising. Everybody got to go back in the house. So it's just they're just juggling, you people. They're just juggling your emotions. Okay. But the end game is going to be an RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. All right. So it says, reading on mattress producers to car manufacturers to aluminum foil makers are buying more material than they need to survive the breakneck speed at which demands for goods is recovering and assuage that primal fear of running out. The frenzy is pushing supply chains to the brink of seizing up. Shortages, transportation, bottlenecks, and price spikes are nearing the highest levels in recent memory, raising concern that a supercharged global economy will stoke inflation. But wait, there are more global shortages to report. The writers also mention the global shortages of raw materials, crops, and other essential commodities. The effect of the current supply disruptions is seen not just on the economy, but also daily life. They write copper, iron, ore, steel, corn, coffee, wheat, soybeans, lumber, semiconductors, plastic, cardboard for packaging. The world is seemingly low on all of it. You name it. And we have a shortage of it. Tom Limbarger, chairman and chief executive of engine and generator manufacturer Cummins Inc., said on a call this month. Clients are trying to get everything they can because they see high demand. The difference between the big crunch of 2021 and past supply disruptions is the sheer magnitude of it and the fact that there is, as far as anyone can tell, no clear end in sight. Big or small, few businesses are spared. Okay? So on top of all this is going on, we got to remember that there's still the trade war going on between America, all right, and its biggest importers, which is China, one of the biggest importers in the world, which is China. Okay? There's still it is doubles, all right, which he basically passed the puck to Biden. All right, the former president passed the puck to Biden, and he's not doing any better. Constantly printing money, which is going to lead to inflation. All right, and on top of all that, you got the housing bubble. All right, which I advise brothers to is this page called, let me see, Epic Economist. You see? And he goes into the housing shortages, the mega drought, as I was mentioning before. Okay? Dangerous prices. And now, America is still trying to make a comeback from the so-called, from the colonial pipeline ordeal, which now trucks can't get gas. In which if the trucks can't get gas, how can transportation happen? And as I mentioned, this has been going on for a while. Last year, I remember on the job, the boss was always complaining about, the job being held up because they couldn't get certain material. So it's crumbling down, all right? And it's not gonna get any better, you know? It's not gonna get any better. And it says, and now adding to the global shortage issue, we have all this. There are other exacerbating issues. As I mentioned before, fires, deep freezes, rolling blackouts, drought, floods, rolling the colonial pipeline hack, as I mentioned. Of course, we have to mention this prompted governments worldwide to engage in medieval-like tyranny levels and launch wars against their economy. Don't expect don't expect global shortages and price spikes to end anytime soon. Okay? And this goes into the scriptures, man. First Thessalonians, though they say peace and safety, yet sudden destruction. On the surface, you think everything is cool because you can go back out and party and bullshit. All right? But behind closed doors, look at everything else that's happening. Okay? Your life is being, is getting ready to change drastically. And it's going to be on a sudden, which I was looking up the word sudden. And, the word sudden means unexpected. All right? An unexpected drastic change for the worse. All right? It says, take a look at the U.S. economic indicator known as the Logistics Manager Index, a gauge built on a monthly survey of corporate supplies chiefs. Information collected reveals where they foresee transportation, warehouse expenses, and inventory. You see, the current index is at the second highest level in records dating back to 2016. Nor does the index show any respite in the next year. You bring all of these factors in, and it's an environment that's ripe for significant inflation with limited levers for monetary authorities to pull, said David Landu, chief producer officer at Blue Jay Solutions, a UK-based logistics software and service provider. Food prices are rising dramatically too. A United Nations gauge of world food costs climbed for the 11th straight month in April, the highest rise in 7 years. Mismanagement of agricultural commodities in the U.S., weather issues, and a crop buying spree in China led to more continuous price spikes than seen in over a decade. It says, I just finished this off. It says, the economic crisis, and it is a crisis, is not simply a matter of corruption or short-sighted politicians. The fact is, this is one step of many in an agenda that hatched long ago. It is a plan in which the bottom 99% of the world's population lives under a complete tyranny with virtually no comforts. At the end of the day, as we always go into Revelations 13 and 16, all, both small and great, rich and poor. There's no middle class. If you were once middle class, you're now poor, okay? Or you will be in the coming future. Their basic needs met a government-controlled UBI payment controlled by cashless credits that can be cut off at the first sign of dissent. Okay? You got a lot of people, that's not with this vaccination situation. All right? So when this devil puts his, foot to the pedal, all right, which it was already something that came out to where they're talking about locking people up that, choose not to get vaccinated. Okay? He's going to cut you off from society. This is why everything is going digital. This is what the Great Reset is all about. The failures of free trade combined with the coming Great Reset will make humanity wish they had given their all to defend their freedom. We still have the chance to do so. Instead of sheepishly giving our freedom out of fear and conformity, it's time to step up. You know? This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed? Okay? And it's not the case. You know, maybe if you record it years back, but, you know, just as when you watch, this is a movie called Big Short, going into how these devils orchestrated. They blew up the bubble to the housing market. And then even though they knew it was going to pop, you know, they still continued to blow it up. Eventually it popped. You know, eventually, you know, they basically took down the curtain, so to speak. But now, which that was what, 2007, 2008, you know, what, 7, 8 years after the last recession, I believe, you know, and now this is what, 14 years later. So going to show you that Esau is still, you know, he's gonna ride this thing out to, you know, to as the scriptures say, it cannot be helped. You know, you cannot throw a stimulus check at it, you know, or a bailout plan is not gonna work, because this devil wants to do away with this new system, as we just read, the Great Reset, also known as the New World Order. All right, but what he doesn't understand is this is his only, you know, this is the last time, you know. This is the hand he was dealt, and he's gonna fuck it up and expect to get dealt the new hand. That's not how it works. Okay? The Most High is gonna step in and he's gonna show him that he's not in control. All right? The aspect of free will is a delusional one. All right? The mindset of such. We will have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even unto the skies. Okay? And this is actually talking about America. All right? This is ancient Salakia. This Babylon that we're reading about is talking about America. All right? You could jump to verse 13 where it says, O thou that dwellest upon many waters, as it says in Revelation 17, Revelation 18, abundant in treasures. And this place is abundant in treasures. All right? They rely on imports, as it says in Revelation 18. Thine end is come in the measure of thy covetousness. You know? And here it is. I was reading something to where China, you know, they lowered the tariffs, you know, on their imports. But here it is, America won't lower theirs, man. I believe they actually doubled it. I don't remember if they doubled it, but I know they raised it. You know? So again, greedy E is gonna hurt, you know, you're gonna hurt yourself. But this is I like to call this the economy scripture. Isaiah chapter 24, verse 1. Now I read a few verses in the KJV, and then I want to jump to the NET. So it says, Behold, Yahweh maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scatter abroad the inhabitants thereof. Going to show you again that the Heavenly Father put it in Esau's mind to destroy himself, as is written of in Genesis 27 and 14. All right, he gave him that as a blessing, but in Revelation 13 it says, He that lives by the sword shall die by the sword. Okay, so it really was a curse. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. Okay? Now when we go to the NET, it breaks it down even more. Let me see. Was it the NET or the... Yes, it was. Everyone be suffering. Okay, yeah. So it says, look, the earth is ready to devastate. The Yahweh is ready to devastate the earth and leave it in ruins. He will mar its surface and scatter its inhabitants. Everyone will suffer, the priests as well as the people. Again, as we just read, the business owners are suffering. All right, and when you watch that, that site, economic, was it? I forgot what the name of it was. I don't know why I keep doing that. Epic Economist. When you watch that, right, it shows you, and one of the videos speaks about how inevitably the consumer would feel, all right, these, in order for a business to stay in business, the owner has to make enough to feed himself, to pay the rent, to pay the bills, to pay the employees. So he has to push all that cost onto the consumer. So it says the priest as well as the people, the master as well as the servant, the elegant lady as well as the female attendant, the seller as well as the buyer, the borrower as the lender, the creditor as well as the debtor. The earth will be completely devastated and thoroughly ransacked, for Yahweh has decreed this judgment. So that's a judgment from the Most High. Okay? And what's that scripture say? What's that, 2nd Ezra 16? 2nd Ezra 16:5. Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he? They may drive them away. May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in stubble when it have begun to burn. You see? So the Most High, he's the one that's lighting the match to this place. All right, so as we go back to Isaiah 24 now, it says, the earth dries up and withers, the world shrivels up and withers, the prominent people of the earth fade away. Okay, and then it goes into why. See, the Lord is so righteous, he fucks you up, but he tells you why. That's how you know it's a Jake, man. When Jake fucking you up, he's talking to you. The earth is defiled by its inhabitants, for they have violated laws, disregarded the regulation, and broken the permanent treaty. And when I say Jake, I'm talking about the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay? So now let's go to, is that 2nd Ezra 6? Yeah. It says, and suddenly, 2nd Ezra 6:22, shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Okay? That's pretty much plain and to the point. All right? So this place is suddenly going to fall, man. And we here to tell you that. If you don't get it, well, you're going to see it. So with that, shalom to the elect.